You're standing in your kitchen and they say, "You never take out the trash. You always leave it for me." And your stomach drops because you just took it out this morning. You saw the bag by the curb yourself. But their voice is so calm, so certain. And suddenly you wonder, did I forget? Am I losing my mind? You check the bin again. Empty. But the doubt lingers. That tiny crack in your reality? That's not an accident. That's gaslighting, and it's rewiring your brain while you sleep. Stay with me, because in 90 seconds, I'll show you the third effect, the silent erosion most people don't notice until they've lost touch with their own body. And by the end, you'll have a 60-second grounding practice that rebuilds neural pathways damaged by years of doubt. Let's clear something up first. Gaslighting isn't just lying. It's a systematic dismantling of your reality. Named after the 1944 film Gaslight, where a husband dims the gas lamps, then denies the light changed, making his wife question her sanity. Modern gaslighting works the same way. They contradict your memory, dismiss your feelings, then act shocked you doubt them. In your brain, it starts choosing their reality over yours because trusting yourself becomes too painful. I know this because I lived it. 3 years in a relationship where I kept a secret notes app titled, "What Actually Happened?" Not because I was paranoid, because my memory had become unreliable. I'd recall an argument where they yelled, and they'd say, "I never raised my voice, you're imagining things again." Within months, I stopped trusting my own eyes. I'd see a red car outside and think, is it actually red, or do I just think it's red? That's not anxiety, that's neurological damage. And today, we're covering 4 ways gaslighting physically reshapes your brain. But effect number 3? That's the silent killer. It doesn't attack your thoughts, it severs your connection to your own body. I'll break it down at the 6-minute mark. But first, let's talk about what happens to your memory. Effect number 1 hits quietly. Your hippocampus starts shrinking. This is the brain region that forms and retrieves memories, and under chronic gaslighting, it literally loses volume. Not metaphorically, physically. A 2023 study in neuropsychopharmacology found people in psychologically abusive relationships showed 8 to 12% reduced hippocampal volume compared to controls. Why? Because your brain stops prioritizing memory formation when reality keeps shifting. Why bother remembering details if someone will just rewrite them tomorrow? You start forgetting small things, not because you're careless, but because your brain is protecting you from the pain of being contradicted again. You stop noticing what shirt they wore yesterday, what time you left work, the name of that restaurant you visited. Not absent-mindedness, adaptive amnesia. Your nervous system is conserving energy for the constant reality checking required to survive their distortions. I saw this with my client Maya last year. Brilliant software engineer, could debug complex code in minutes, but after 2 years with a gaslighting partner, she'd stand in grocery aisles paralyzed. Was it whole milk or 2% he wanted? Not because she couldn't remember, because every time she'd recalled it correctly before, he'd said, "No, you always get it wrong." Her brain stopped trying, and that's when the second effect kicks in. Effect number 2, your amygdala goes into permanent overdrive. This almond-shaped cluster is your brain's threat detector, and gaslighting trains it to see you as the threat. Every time you speak up, "I remember it differently," and they respond with rage or cold dismissal, your amygdala logs, "Speaking my truth equals danger." Soon you feel anxiety before you even form a thought. That tightness in your chest when you're about to share an opinion, that's not insecurity, that's your amygdala screaming, "Don't do it, they'll twist your words again." I used to feel this physically. My throat would close mid-sentence around my ex, not metaphorically, actual constriction. I'd start saying, "I felt hurt when," and my vocal cords would just freeze. My body had learned that self-expression led to being called too sensitive or dramatic. And over time, my amygdala stopped waiting for their reaction. It preemptively shut me down. That's not weakness, that's neural conditioning. And it creates the perfect setup for the third effect, the one that makes escape feel impossible. Effect number 3, your insula disconnects from your body. This is the silent killer I promised you. Ready? The insula is your brain's interoception center. It translates physical sensations into emotional awareness, hunger, heart racing, gut feelings, that something's off sensation in your chest. Gaslighting systematically severs this connection. How? By dismissing your instincts for years. You're overreacting. There's nothing to be nervous about. Your anxiety is the problem, not my behavior. And your brain believes them. It stops ignoring your body's signals because they've been labeled wrong so often. You stop feeling fear when someone raises their voice. You ignore the knot in your stomach when a friend cancels last minute again. You lose access to your intuition, the very compass that would guide you towards safety. Last winter, I had coffee with a woman who just left a 5-year gaslighting relationship. She told me, "I didn't leave because I realized he was abusive. I left because I burned my hand on a stove and felt nothing. Not pain, not heat, just observation. And I thought, when did I stop feeling my own body?" That's insula damage, not metaphorically, neurologically. Your brain stops translating physical signals because they've been invalidated for so long. And without that internal compass, you can't trust yourself to choose safe people. You can't feel danger until it's too late. Watch for this tell. When you make decisions based entirely on logic while your body screams otherwise. Taking a job that makes sense while your shoulders stay tight for weeks. Staying with someone who treats you well while your stomach churns every time they walk in the room. That disconnect isn't confusion, it's neurological damage, and it always leads to the fourth effect. Your prefrontal cortex abandons decision-making. This is your brain's CEO, the part that weighs options, plans ahead, sets boundaries. But after years of having your choices dismissed, like, "That's a stupid idea," your prefrontal cortex goes offline. Why bother analyzing options when your judgment will be invalidated anyway? You start outsourcing decisions to others, even strangers. What should I order? Which movie should we see? What do you think I should do with my life? This isn't people-pleasing, this is neurological surrender. Your brain has learned that independent thought leads to punishment, so it stops trying. And the cruelest part? Gaslighters reward this surrender. See, you're happier when you stop overthinking. They call your neural damage peace, your silence maturity, your disconnection growth. I stayed in my relationship 6 extra months because I literally couldn't decide to leave. Not emotionally, I neurologically couldn't access the decision-making pathways required to plan an exit. My therapist had to literally walk me through. Step 1, pack 1 bag. Step 2, call your sister. Step 3, walk out the door. Not because I was weak, because gaslighting had disabled the brain regions required for autonomous action. If this resonates, breathe. Your brain isn't broken, it adapted to survive. An adaptation can be reversed, which brings us to the most important part. Now, let's talk about what actually heals these neural pathways. Forget just trust yourself again. That's like telling someone with a broken leg to just walk. Your brain needs targeted repair, and it starts with one practice I call the reality anchor. Here's how it works. Do this tonight. Step 1, set a timer for 60 seconds. Sit somewhere quiet. Step 2, name 3 things you physically experienced today. No interpretations. Not, "My boss was rude," but "My boss raised his voice at 10:17 a.m. Not, "I felt anxious," but "My palms were sweaty during the 3 p.m. meeting." Just raw sensory data, sights, sounds, temperatures, textures. Step 3, write them down by hand, not in Notes app, pen on paper. The tactile feedback signals your brain, this is real, this happened. That's it, 60 seconds. Do this daily for 21 days. Why it works? You're retraining your hippocampus to trust memory formation again. You're proving to your amygdala that speaking truth, even just to yourself, is safe. You're reactivating your insula by reconnecting to physical sensation.
and you're rebuilding prefrontal pathways by practicing autonomous observation. I did this after my breakup. Day 1, sun felt warm on my face at 8:03 a.m. Day 7, coffee tasted bitter this morning. I added honey. Day 21, I noticed my shoulders were tight during a phone call and trusted that signal enough to end the conversation. That's neural repair. Not overnight, but real. Remember that kitchen moment I described at the start? The trash bag you took out? Here's what to do next time. Don't argue, don't defend. Just say quietly, I remember it differently. Then walk away. No explanation, no justification. That single act does 3 things neurologically. It reactivates your hippocampus, my memory matters. It calms your amygdala, speaking my truth won't destroy me. And it honors your insula, my gut feeling is valid. You won't feel better immediately. Your brain has been conditioned for years. But each time you honor your reality,